Hey, this is Dale Tinsley. You're listening to the Connect podcast. Our purpose is to guide you to connect with yourself so that you can connect with others and live a life of meaning and value. Continuing the series, Limitless Potential, Endless Refinement. Welcome to the Unstuck event, the Connection Studio. I'm Dale Tinsley with the Connect podcast. Honored, proud to be collaborating today with Shawn Oddo of the Valhalla Training Grounds, Jacob Lawson of Make It Extraordinary, and a brother of mine, Edgar Rios, who came in to cover spirituality. How many times in our lives have we felt stuck, where we feel like we can't get some traction? It could be mind, body, spirit. It could be relationships. It could be anything. So today we're going to explore some different avenues. The speakers are going to touch on some different things. And I hope you leave with some inspiration and some different ideas, some different thoughts, something that triggers or sparks something inside of you to begin the process of getting unstuck wherever you might feel that you're stuck. So at this time, I'd like to welcome Shawn Oddo to the stage. Shawn Oddo is a powerful human being. Got to spend some time with him in our episode that we did together. Yep. And then afterwards, I was like, I got to name it Champion Mind. So.
Yeah.
So I bow to you, Shawn. Thank you for being here, brother.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Enjoy yourself, my friend.
What's up, guys? As Dale said, my name's Shawn Oddo, owner of Valhalla Training Grounds. I've been in business for myself for 8 years. My business has grown over 15% every year I've been in business. I have the absolute most amazing relationship that I've ever been in right now. Me and my girlfriend have an amazing little girl together. I'm 42. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. It's the best I've ever looked. I currently have a 3-part financial plan to be 100% financially free. Part 1 is getting completed next week. Part 2 will be completed in 3 years. The final part will be completed in 10. So when I'm 52, I will be completely financially free. I'm not telling y'all that from a place of ego or to brag. Everything that I learned to have all this in my life, I learned and developed the skill set from working on my physical body and working on my health. You are the seed in your life, which everything else that people are going to talk about today sprouts from. So we all know people that may be out of shape that are millionaires or have good relationships, or we may know people that look really good that also don't have the life that they want. What people don't understand is there's always going to be a ceiling on what you can do if your physical body, if you don't work on your physical body. It's not about looking like a bodybuilder. It's not about looking like a model. It's about the discipline and the skill set and the tools that you learn that you can only learn from working on your physical body, okay? It's discipline. One of the most important things is learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. April 2018, I started reading personal development, personal growth books, financial books, business books. Since then, I've read over 400 books. There has not been a single book that I have read about someone ultra successful or written by someone who is ultra successful that does not work on their physical body in some sense. They all know, they've all learned, they've all talked about how there is a vital skill set that can only be learned working on your physical body that transfers in to every other aspect of your life. It transfers into your relationships. It transfers into your business or your job where you work. It transfers into your spirituality. It transfers into everything. So there's always going to be a ceiling on what you can achieve and where you can be if you are not working on your physical body. Probably my biggest inspiration, the entrepreneur that I follow, is Andy Frisella. He owns First Form, super successful guy, tons of money. Well, years ago, he had ultra successful business, millionaire, lots of money. Did not focus on his physical body at all. He was completely out of shape. I'm not talking bad about the guy. I mean, he documented his journey. I mean, he tore himself apart about how out of shape and lazy he was. But he recognized that there were things that he wanted to do with his business. There was more that he wanted out of his business that there was no way he was going to achieve until he buckled down and started working on himself and made himself better to develop those skills and tools needed to go where he wanted to go with his business. So within a year, he lost weight, got in a better spot, business grew. Within 3 years, he's building this building for his business, this new building that's the size of like 3 Kmarts. And the only thing he attributed it to was the discipline and the skill set that he learned by working on himself. And then he developed, some of y'all might have heard, they got a program called 75 Hard that he developed. It's free, and that's what it teaches. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you consistency. It teaches you that no matter what's going on, there's these 10 things that you have to do every day, that it doesn't matter what the scenario, the situation is, you have to do it. Because there's going to be times in your relationship, there's going to be times in your finances, there's going to be times in anything that you're trying to do where you can't compromise. If you want to do it, you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. And that's where the part about getting comfortable, being uncomfortable comes in place. And the easiest way to do that is working on yourself, because I've been exercising since I was 13 years old. I've been competing in bodybuilding since I was 18. I mean, there's still days when I don't want to go to the gym. I mean, I'm going to lie to you if I tell you I wanted to go to the gym. I'm 3 weeks out from a show right now. I don't want to be doing cardio. Cardio is miserable. But I know that in order to look the way I need to look to be on stage, but also there's going to be times in my business, in my relationship, where there's going to be shit that I don't want to do, that I'm going to have to do. If I want to have the relationship I want to have, there's going to be shit that I have to do that I might not want to do. To be financially free, there's going to be shit that I have to do that I don't want to do. I don't want to be putting all this money aside right now, paying off things that I want to pay off. My passion is guns and cars. I want to go be buying guns all the time. I want to go be buying, I want to go spend money on cars. But to achieve this goal, I'm going to have to get uncomfortable right now and not do the shit that I want to do so that I can ultimately have the life that I want to have. I learned that through the gym when I'm getting ready for a show. And I have to go do cardio in the morning and don't want to go do cardio. Well, I can skip, but I'm not going to look the way I need to look on stage to win. And no one wants to go on stage and look like shit, and no one wants to go on stage and lose. It's not fun. When you're standing up there in this little tiny little bikini bottom, you want to try and look the absolute best you can possibly look. So getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And this sounds really simple when we talk about, all you have to do is exercise, and you can learn all these things that you want to learn about improving all these areas of life. It sounds that simple, but none of us want to admit to ourselves that it's that simple. Because if we say it's that simple and we don't do it, well, then we have to admit that we're just lazy pieces of shit. Because we all want to have a certain life. We all want more for ourselves. So if we sit there and say, to have this, all I have to do is go exercise a little bit every day, but I don't, okay, well, then we have to tell ourselves that we're done. And I'm not saying it's easy by any means. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is that simple. There are things that you will learn working on yourself that you cannot learn any other place. And the purpose of it all is to prove to yourself that you can. That's it. If you are not active at all, and you slowly work up and stack daily wins and gain momentum, well, then you go from doing nothing to where you're just doing a little bit. Well, you've proven to yourself that you can. So then when this becomes easy, this right here is uncomfortable, okay? We're comfortable doing nothing. So doing something is uncomfortable. So when we get to here, and this becomes comfortable, and we've raised our ceiling of discomfort, well, then we want to do a little more. So we add a little more. Well, now we're here. Well, you've already proven to yourself, you've started at nothing, and you've gotten to here and you've gotten to here, and you keep subconsciously planting this seed in your head that you can. You can do whatever you want to do, and that transfers out into everything else. Well, I did this with my physical body. Why can't I do it in my relationship? I've done this in my physical body. Why can't I do it with my finances? Well, you've got these seeds planted that you can. And the more you do, the more you raise that ceiling. So getting comfortable being uncomfortable. When we start, you have to essentially choose your discomfort. Because let's be honest, okay? Being fucking broke is uncomfortable. Being in a toxic relationship is uncomfortable. Being out of shape, having to be on prescription medication all the day, being unhealthy, that's uncomfortable. But we do it for so long, we get used to it. And we don't think about it anymore. We get used to the discomfort. Well, the same is true on the opposite side. Yeah, working out, exercising, that sounds really uncomfortable because we don't do it. Well, the more you do it, the more you get used to it. Well, then you get used to the discomfort and it's not uncomfortable anymore. So you have to pick. What do you want your discomfort to be? You can be uncomfortable working towards financial freedom, or you can be uncomfortable being fucking broke. You can be uncomfortable trying to build the best relationship you possibly can, or you can be uncomfortable being in a toxic relationship. It goes for every part of your life. You can be uncomfortable in your dead-end shitty job, or you can do the extra work and do what you need to do and be uncomfortable having an amazing job and getting promotions and getting pay raises or opening your own business or whatever it may be. So at the end of the day, it all boils down to choosing your discomfort. I mean, we all do it, me included. We all have done something that is uncomfortable for so long, we just accept it as normal. Oh, living paycheck to paycheck? That's normal. I mean, I do it every week. I do it every month. It's normal for me. Being in a toxic, abusive relationship, I've done that for 10 years. It's normal. You don't even think about it. You're just there. You exist in it. Not thinking, oh, it's going to be so uncomfortable getting out of this relationship. It's going to be so uncomfortable working on myself, having the relationship I want to have. Well, okay, you're uncomfortable now. We're just choosing a different type of discomfort that in the end is going to bring you the happiness in the life that you want. So you can be uncomfortable living a lesser life, or you can be uncomfortable living the life you want. The choice is up to you. So how does all this tie into exercise in our physical body? Well, it ties in every way. So let's look at it as you're someone who doesn't exercise at all, okay? Exercise is not your thing. You don't like it. It's a pain in the ass. It's not convenient, whatever. Well, how we're going to start is we're going to go outside and we're going to walk for 10 minutes twice a week. I don't care when you do it, whatever. That's all you're going to do. And in your mind, well, that's simple. Like what is that going to achieve? Well, first off, you're not doing anything right now. So you're going to go from being unproductive and doing nothing to doing 2 days of exercise. And you're going to do that for a week, 2 weeks. And when that gets easy, then we're going to do it 3 days. And then when that gets easy, we're going to do it 4 days. And then when that gets easy, we're gonna do it 5 days. I usually don't see a need to exercise more than 5 days a week, especially if, schedule permitting or what you're trying to do. We're trying to build a schedule, and we're trying to work on ourselves and make it doable. I see people fail all the time because they want to go from nothing to everything. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. From where you are now to where you wanna be, the longest path is the shortcut. Think about that. From where you are to where you wanna be, the longest path is the shortcut, because you don't learn shit on the shortcut. You don't develop the skill set needed. You don't develop the discipline. You don't learn the tools. You want the journey. The journey is where you learn everything about yourself. It's where you learn everything. You want it to be hard. You want it to take time, because you build more and more momentum, proving to yourself, I can consistently do something for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. And let's not even remotely fucking pretend that 6 months is a long time. It's August next week, okay? January felt like yesterday, all right? 8 months like this. So we are not even gonna remotely sit here and pretend that 6 months is a long time, okay? It's not. So after we're walking for 10 minutes a day and we've built up to 5 days a week, well, now it's been 4 or 5 weeks and you've gone from doing nothing to now we're exercising 5 days a week, okay? Like, who are you? 4 weeks ago, you were a completely different person. When that gets easy, we're gonna go to 15 minutes. When that gets easy, we're gonna go to 20 minutes. And if 20 minutes is all your schedule could absolutely allow, that's a lot compared to where you were 5, 6 weeks ago. You weren't doing anything. So you've already proven to yourself, I can go from nothing to 20 times what I've been doing. So where do we go after that? Well, now we're just gonna exercise. We're gonna either join a gym or we're gonna do body weight exercises at our house 1 day a week. That's it. You're gonna prove to yourself, I can go from doing no resistance training to some resistance training. And you're gonna get sore, and it's gonna suck, and it's gonna be uncomfortable. But your body's gonna adapt, and you're not gonna get sore anymore. When that gets easy, you're gonna go to 2 days a week. When that gets easy, you're gonna go to 3 days a week. I usually tell people, you wanna weight train 3 to 5 days a week. It's up to you. Whatever works for you. You wanna get a minimum of 3 days in. So now it's been about 2 months, and we've gone from nothing to 5 days of cardiovascular exercise, 3 to 5 days of weight training. Again, who the fuck are you? 8 weeks ago, you were completely sedentary. Now we're doing cardiovascular exercise, now we're weight training. You've literally spent 2 months building daily wins, gaining momentum, showing yourself, I can go from doing nothing to all this. The added benefit's gonna be, you're gonna feel better, your clothes are gonna start fitting better, you're gonna have more energy, which is gonna add on to your momentum. You're gonna wake up one day and be like, oh shit, I may actually like this. I feel better about myself. I feel empowered. I feel like I can do more. And that's gonna transfer into all the other areas that we're gonna talk about today. It's gonna transfer to your finances. You're gonna say, wow, maybe, I got this car note hanging over my head. I really kind of want to start paying it off. I think I'm gonna stop buying my $15 mocha skinny frappe latte whatever that you buy every morning 5 days a week and spend $75 a week on. Guess what? That's $300 a month that you can put towards your car note. And then after your car's paid off, you can buy as many skinny mocha frappes, latte, whatever it is that you want in the morning, okay? And you developed all that just from working on yourself. You taught yourself, I'm going to forgo this because I've proven to myself I can do this. I've proven to myself I can be uncomfortable. I can be okay being uncomfortable. So, you know what? Like, yeah, I'm going to forgo this in order to have this. And that's going to transfer into your relationship. It's going to transfer into your job, or if you own a business, whatever. It all transfers out. And then you're going to realize that you're going to want to start wanting more for yourself. Maybe you've been working out for 3 days a week for like 6 months. And you're like, well, shit, I feel great. I'm looking better. I look better than all my friends that are my age. They're telling me how good I look. I want to start working out 4 days a week. So now you work out 4. And then you gain a little more momentum. Then you look a little bit better. Then you've proven to yourself even more that you can. So now you're setting higher goals for yourself financially. Now you're setting higher goals for yourself spiritually or in your relationship. It all transfers out. Again, it sounds so simple, and we all want to convince ourselves it's not simple, because we have to tell ourselves if we're not doing something so simple to have the life that we want, then I am an idiot. I am literally stupid that I'm not doing this one little thing that can give me the life I want. But it's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's easy. It's not. But it is that simple. It's not about, oh, I want to take the shortcut and buy this program, or I want to hire this coach or do that. You don't have to spend any money. You can just start with you. Just focus with, if you don't want to go join a gym, you're going to do 5 push-ups, sit-ups, body weight squats, leg lifts a day. And that's all you're going to do. That's going to be your workout. You're going to do 2 rounds of that, and that's your workout if you don't want to join the gym. And you're going to get sore doing that, and you're going to feel like shit because you're going to be like, oh my God, I didn't do anything. Why am I in so much pain? But then you're going to adapt, and you're not going to get sore anymore. And your body's going to get better. And you're going to do it 2 days a week, and you're going to get sore all over again. And then you're not going to get sore. And you're going to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And you're going to raise that ceiling of discomfort. Then you're going to do it 3 days a week. Then you're going to do it 4 days a week. Then you're going to say, you know what? I want to go join a gym. I feel better. I look better. I feel more empowered. I feel more confident. I want to go join a gym. Go join Planet. I'm not telling you have to join my gym, and I own a gym. Go join Planet Fitness. Go $10 a month, minimal investment. Just prove to yourself that you can. I can go to a gym, I can have a membership, and I can work on myself, and I can make myself better. And then when you feel like you've gotten all you can got from there, and you want to invest a little more, and you want to join a different gym, join a different gym. But it's all about proving to yourself that you can. That's all it is. You can go from nothing, you can go from 0 to 500. But you got to go from 0 to 10 first. And you got to go from 10 to 20, and you got to go from 20 to 30. And the longer it takes, the more you're going to learn. Everyone wants to rush the process. So I want to go from 0 to 100 in 1 week. You're not going to learn anything. You're not going to get anything out of it. You want it to take long. You want to experience the journey. You want to have the days when you don't want to do it, and you make yourself do it anyway. Because there's going to be times in your finances, in your relationship, in your job, where there's going to be shit that you don't want to do. But to have what you want to have, you're going to have to do it. The best way to learn how to do it is with yourself. Because there's going to be mornings you're not going to want to wake up and go walk for 10 minutes. There's going to be days when you get off work that you're not going to walk for 10 minutes. But you're going to prove to yourself, doesn't matter, I can. To have the life I want to have, I'm going to go walk for this 10 minutes. And when you get done walking for 10 minutes, you're going to be glad that you did, and you didn't make an excuse not to do it, because you're going to feel like a lazy piece of shit if you don't do it. And then you're going to have guilt and regret, and then you're going to lose a little momentum. So that's basically what I wanted to correlate with y'all with working on your health. You are the seed. Everything branches off of you. The easiest, in my opinion, the easiest, most direct way to have the life that you want to have is to start focusing on your health. Start focusing on your physical body, and don't make it one-dimensional. Do not make it about what you look like. That's not it. It's about what you learn, the skill set that you learn, the tools that you learn from working on your physical body. I'll be here after if y'all have any questions about anything. I have a degree in nutrition, whatever y'all want to talk about related to health and wellness, whatever, we can talk about whatever y'all want. So thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, so we covered some health on how to get unstuck one day at a time, one moment at a time. Next up, we've got Jacob Lawson of Make It Extraordinary. Welcome to the stage, brother. Pleasure to see you. Enjoy yourself, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Mr. Dale. I want to thank everybody for coming out here today, spending some time with us. So most of us here know exactly where we're stuck. Some of us are here trying to figure it out. Others are like, I ain't stuck at all. I don't know what you're talking about. I came here for the free cheese and wine, right? You know? Dale and Jake begged me to get over here, right? So regardless, we're all stuck somewhere, right? And it's up to us to figure out where that is. You know, we all have the potential to get unstuck from wherever we are. But most of us, we're stuck in a good place. Life is good. We're all blessed. No matter whatever trials and tribulations we're going through in our life right now, like we're still in a pretty damn good place. Everything's relatives, everything's perspective. We could be living in a third world country. No, we're living right here with all of the comforts that we are blessed to be growing up with, right? So over this next 30 minutes, what I'm gonna do is go over a little bit on how listening to your intuition, your aha moments, and mentors can help change that life and get you elevated, get you unstuck. Some of you know me, some of you don't. For those that don't, my name is Jacob Lawson. My primary business is Extraordinary Flooring. We're Louisiana's leading polished concrete and epoxy coating specialist. That's what pays the bills. That's how I keep the lights on. I'm also an author. I wrote the book, Make It Extraordinary, 27 life-changing lessons to help you elevate beyond the ordinary. I took all of my life-changing lessons and put them down in a book. They're very relatable in many senses. Some of them are just childhood lessons, some of them are business lessons, some of them relationship lessons, but all of the lessons that helped change my life, that put me on a different path than I was currently on, are in that book. And my passion project is Make It Extraordinary. It's the foundation I'm building, it's the movement I'm building, and it's my passionate project to, over my lifetime, help others, as many as possible, define, create, and achieve their own version of the extraordinary life. Because it's all perspective. What my version of the extraordinary life is for me. What yours is for you. Every single person has their own version of the extraordinary life. Every single person has their own version of that ideal, picture-perfect life. It's up to us to define and create that. Now, over the past couple of minutes, you've heard me say the word extraordinary maybe more times than you've heard in the past month, year, or 6 months. I don't know. Unless you listen to me a lot, then you hear it more often than others, right? But my life and my business has not always been extraordinary. In fact, the first name of my business was Big Jake's Affordable Flooring. And with a name like Big Jake's Affordable Flooring, you can bet that I was attracting all of the big spenders. Not quite. I was attracting all of the budget spenders. I was attracting everybody who needed the cheapest flooring possible, right? Well, I couldn't imagine why this was happening with a name like Big Jake's Affordable Flooring. So, struggling I may have been, but I was trying to build that business and growing into that business. And every now and then I would have some off time or some time in between projects. And I would call up my old mentor, my boss that taught me flooring. And I'd say, can I do some pickup work with him? He'd normally oblige. You know, one of these days, riding in the back of his 1980s work van with 2 bucket seats in the front. And I was sitting on the bucket seat in the back. It just happened to be the Home Depot bucket in the back. All right, so I'm sitting on the back of this bucket. I'm in my own zone. And all of a sudden I said, I got it. And he looks back at me and says, what you got? I said, I got the name of my new business. It's no longer Big Jake's Affordable Flooring. It is Jake's Extraordinary Flooring. Big bro kind of side-eyed me a little bit, and he's like, I don't know about that one, man. It seems like a little much, you know, but it didn't matter. Like, I listened to that aha moment. From that moment right then and there, the name of my business was Extraordinary Flooring. And call it divine intervention, call it God, call it karma, call it the earth, call it spirit, call it whatever you want. Within the next 6 months, everything changed in my business. Was it because of a name change or because of an energy change or because I started asking for something different? Within that next 6 months, we started attracting multi-million-dollar contractors to build multi-million-dollar homes. We were attracting designers that were designing these extraordinary backsplashes and bathrooms and fireplaces. And this was all of a sudden the type of work we were doing. We were doing extraordinary work, right? And we were proud of it. It was something that I could be proud of. And the business started growing from there. And the motto became, you know, why make it ordinary when you can make it extraordinary? And sounded like a good tagline for a business, right? Catchy name, catchy phrase, catchy motto, and that's what we were doing. We were doing extraordinary flooring. Fast forward a few years, and business is going good. Everything's rolling nice and steady, kind of going on autopilot. We had a name, we're building a name for ourselves, and I got invited to a barbecue one day, and I didn't know that day was also going to change my life. It was the day I met my wife. It's the day I met the Brazilian love of my life, and she introduced me to the Brazilian community that I knew nothing about. And I'd grown up with a bunch of Spanish people and a bunch of different ethnicities around here, but no Brazilian community. And meet her, start dating her. She introduces me to her whole community. And I start seeing these guys that they have their own business like me, and all of a sudden they're like building houses, cash money, and doing all of these things with, you know, and they're working for me, and they're building houses, cash, and I'm like, how are they doing this? I'm like, I don't own a business. I can't do this. I've been in business 10 years. We're doing good, right? And but yet they're building these houses cash, and I'm talking to her, and I'm still dating her at the time. She's like, she looks at me. I say, I don't know how they doing it. She looks at me like, what do you mean? Like, you born and raised in America. You've got a business. You've got 8 employees. They're all immigrants. They're here hustling, and why can't you do what they're doing? And I'm like, perspective shift, right? I'm not asking for it. I was accepting what the world was giving me at the time, and I was happy with it, right? But I was stuck. So it took the perspective shift of others to make me realize that I had more potential in me. I had other things that I could do. So with that, I partnered with her. We started For Life Investments. Play on word, it was investments for life, and she didn't know it at the time, but I did, and I wanted to marry her for life. So we started that business. That business grew. Well, fast forward a little bit. We were making good money selling the houses. We were making good money in my business. She was a hairdresser. She was making good money that way. And New Year's Day, we have a family meeting, a family gathering, right? Everybody leaves, has a good time. And I said, let's go take a nap, you know? And we're taking a nap, and I'm half awake, half asleep, and she says, Kituchis. I said, what? She said, Kituchis. I barely knew any Portuguese, and I'm like, what the hell is that? She's like, that's our restaurant. I said, what restaurant? She said, that's our restaurant. We're gonna build a restaurant. We're gonna start a restaurant. I see it clear as day. I know the partner. I know the type of food we're gonna do. I see lines around the corner. And I'm like, okay, all right. I've never been one that was super hard to twist my arm for an entrepreneurial opportunity. And I saw how encouraged she was. I saw that she had that aha moment, and I wasn't going to deny her that. So the next week, we started looking for a restaurant location. We started building that restaurant out. And at this time, we found one, we started building it out. At this time, I had more stuff going on in my life than I'd ever had going on in my life. I had my flooring business going on. I would take care of that in the morning. I had the houses going on. I would take care after that, running to one house to the next, trying to figure out what was needed to keep these things rolling. We were also building my dream home at the time. Then I would leave there and go to the restaurant and get that thing built out. So I had more things going on than ever, and I was burning it at both ends, to say the least. Drained in every single way, mentally, physically, and financially, because we were dumping everything into all of these ventures, right? Finally get it open, and I'm like, all right, now it's time I could start recouping some of this. I could start making some money, right? We have the grand open and everything's a success. Like Brazilian community supports, the St. Bernard community supports, everything's packed, everybody's running around like crazy. I'm trying to figure out how to run a restaurant because I definitely haven't done that before. And, but I'm finally like, okay, I can start recouping, I can start breathing again because I was sweating for sure, to say the least. And now it's time for this investment to pay off, right? The world will slap you in your face sometimes. You can get cocky, you can think you have it. You can think if everything's winning, I can't lose. And then you might get slapped in the face like something like COVID. Wasn't exactly the best time to start a restaurant. If anything took the biggest hit, it was probably restaurants and gyms when it came to COVID and everything that happened. So within a matter of a couple weeks, I went from thinking that everything I do is gonna win and I can't lose, to I potentially am about to lose everything. So that was a very eye-opening time for me, where I thought everything was winning, and now all of a sudden I poured everything into those investments and everything flipped around. But I was like, okay, well, the restaurant's not doing good. We drive-through only. Luckily we had a drive-through window, and I do tell people sometimes only in Louisiana can you sell crawfish, daiquiris, and Brazilian food out of a drive-through window. And so we weren't exactly making money, but it gave us hope, right? We're like, we're gonna fight through this. I'm not giving up. I got everything invested in this. We gotta fight. We've got the houses, right? What happened at the same time? Building prices, materials prices, everything doubled and tripled. So all of a sudden I got 3 houses out, and I'm like, I'm about to lose money on all 3 of these houses. I got my flooring company, right? At least that's what got me here. Over half of my work from my flooring company was put on pause or canceled. We can't do this right now. We got to figure this thing out. We're not moving forward, right? Social distancing, this, that, and the other. So I was sitting there really sweating. I knew something needed to change. I knew I needed to make a change in order to dig out of this potential crisis and not lose everything. I stumbled onto somebody, a flamboyant guy online, throwing money in the air, grabbing all kind of attention, and some people know him, some people don't. You either love him or hate him. I stumbled on Greg Cardone, and I was intrigued by the guy because he, like myself, did a lot of fucking up when he was in his early 20s. Yet he turned it around and really built something special in sales training and real estate, right? So I was intrigued by this guy, and I go to one of his seminars, and I learned a lot about real estate, but there was one thing that I took. And he said, I see so many successful entrepreneurs take the money from the good business, and they start pouring their time and money into the disconnected business. Here I am, I'm like disconnected, like flooring and Brazilian food maybe, you know? Just a little bit disconnected. So I see these people pouring their time and energy into these things, and then they lose their main business because they're no longer focused on the main thing. So that was an eye-opening thing. I said, Jake, if you're gonna pull yourself out of this hole, you've got to focus on the main thing again. That's what got you here. And at the same time, I got family in Florida, and I go visit some of the family, and I see my uncle, and that's who everybody says I get my height from. We're the tallest people in the family, right? And everybody else is, average size, but we're the tall ones. And I see him, and he's in his late 70s, been retired for 20 plus years, living the good life, playing golf, playing poker, smoking cigars, taking cruises. And he was 2 days out of a hip replacement. And I'd seen him in Father Time, I'd caught up to him, and he was, you know, in probably the worst shape I've ever seen him in his life. He was a Navy guy, so he was always in pretty good shape, right? And that was the second eye opener. And that same weekend, I looked at him and I said, well, that's your future if you don't change what you do, because I've been yo-yoing 40 plus pounds every couple years my whole life since high school. Get in shape, go right back to the bad habits. 2 years later, I'm sitting there 20 or 40 pounds more heavier, right? And I've yo-yoed this weight almost my whole life. So I knew right then and there, if you're gonna make a change, you have to change. You need to focus on the main thing. And if you're going to be a better leader for my flooring business, I need to be able to lead myself first, right? So I knew right then and there I needed to commit. I had gotten myself in shape so many times and let myself get out of shape right after that so many times, my whole life since high school. So I knew I needed to do something different. And that's when I decided to hire a trainer, okay? I knew this trainer was gonna get my body right. I knew he was gonna give me a exercise program, a meal plan, you know, and all of these things to get my body right. But what I did not know is the mental shifts that were gonna come with that. With getting in shape, I didn't know what kind of mental changes I was gonna be able to make. I went to one of his meetups and he asked a question that I'd never been asked before. He said, when people visit you at your gravesite, what's gonna be on your tombstone? I'd never been asked that question before. I was trying to figure that out. I was pretty perplexed by it. I mean, here lies Jacob Lawson. He owned a flooring company in a failed Brazilian restaurant. You know, it's like, didn't really see that on a tombstone. Wasn't really gonna be proud of that, right? And so I started letting these other guys go. There's about 15 or 20 of us in a room of, 40-year-old plus males trying to do the same thing, get their mind right, get their body right, become their best self, right? And I start listening to them and they start saying, oh, he was the best father, he was the best brother, the best son, the best lover. All of these things, right? And they sounded great to me. They was like, okay, I want to be that to all of the people in my life, but that isn't what resonates with me. That isn't what I want on my tombstone. And just like the Home Depot bucket, I had another lightning bolt that kind of hit me. And it said, he was a conduit for personal evolution. When it hit me, I knew it. It was one of those aha moments again. I didn't have to search for anything else. I didn't need to find another word, another phrase, another subject. I didn't need any of that. I knew that was that resonated with me. And so what does a conduit do? Conduit connects two sources. Connects an energized source to an unenergized source, transfers power, information, energy. Transfers that source to unenergized sources. That's something I can live by. That's something I can be proud of. That's something I can leave my stamp with. And it resonated with me. And once again, once I had that, I knew that's what it was. Nothing else needed to change. So go back home. Got this new energy, from the weekend, the mindset. And all of a sudden, one of the tips that he told me was, if you want to dominate your morning, if you want to dominate your day, put together a motivational playlist. Take the songs that will change your energy no matter what mood you're on. When you hear that song, this could be the Rocky theme. Whatever that is, could be Garth Brooks, could be Metallica, could be Pantera. I don't care what it is, could be Britney Spears. Whatever that is to you. Right? Whatever makes you energized, whatever, you could be in a bad mood, but you hear this song and all of a sudden your energy changes. You're in a better mood, you feel more dominant, you feel more confident, right? So put together that playlist. So I started doing that. And I'm working out in the morning, this motivational playlist every day. And I would find myself talking to myself in the mirror, like giving myself these inspirational speeches, because this music is just motivating me. It's getting me right. It's getting that head right, exactly what he's telling me to do. And once again, aha. I said to myself, Jake, this is great. You need all of this information. This is going to make you better. But you need to share this information. You need to be a conduit and transfer this information. Share this to other people, because you're not the only person that needs to hear this. You're not the only person that is looking for that extra information. A few weeks pass, and I'm jogging. Rocky music on again, you know. I'm feeling good. Lightning bolt again. Those aha moments, when they hit me, I listen to them. And it says, Jake, write a book. I had no inclinations of writing a book. I wasn't planning on it. I wasn't thinking about it. It wasn't on my radar whatsoever. But I got the download. The download came to me. Something told me that. Whether it's, call it God, call it whatever you want to call it. Sent it to me and I listened. I was 2 weeks out from my 41st birthday at this time. I was about to take a trip to Brazil. Now, I heard Grant Cardone say one time on one of his interviews, said, I wrote my last book in 6 hours. I was like, shit, that's pretty impressive. I said, well, I got 2 weeks in Brazil. I can write a book. What am I going to write about? I'm going to write about what I know. You know, I'm thinking that, man, you know, maybe one day I'll write a book when I become somebody, when I do something famous, when I do something extraordinary. I ain't done none of that yet, you know. Yeah, I've done some compared to some, and I've done nothing compared to others. So, you know, that imposter syndrome, who are you to write a book? But it didn't matter. I listened. I wrote the book. All of that started, those little aha moments have led me to here and everywhere else that I'm going. All of those aha moments, from the name change 20 years ago, from Make It Extraordinary instead of Affordable Flooring, all of these steps led me to these different places that I'm at. And you don't know where they're taking you. You don't know where they're going to go. But if you don't listen to them, they can't take you anywhere, right? You'll stay stuck exactly where you're at, right? So I'll start wrapping this up, but I want to, as I'm going through this life change of mine, and as I'm studying these people that are doing these things that are better than me, that have these extraordinary lives or these extraordinary careers and all of these special things, I start seeing what are the core things, what are the key principles that they all share. And I come up with 4 laws of the extraordinary, 4 different things. And what I want everybody to do while you're in here is I want you to think about and rate yourself and rate your life on each of these 4 key principles. You know, and sit there and you reflect on that, because once you know where you rate yourself in these 4 key principles, you know exactly where you can start working on yourself. You know exactly the changes that you can make, and you want to start simple. You want to start small. You don't want to overwhelm yourself, but you want to start small. The 4 key principles are health. Is number 1. It's the lowest hanging fruit. Shawn just said it, you know. It is impossible to feel extraordinary if you can't feel comfortable. It is impossible to feel extraordinary if you are, just like he said, stuck on medication to make yourself better, to make yourself stay alive, to do this, to do that, right? It's impossible to feel extraordinary if you don't have your health, one way or the other. Number 2 is wealth, and I break that into 2 categories, spiritual and financial. If you are the negative person who's always negative, always got something negative to say, can't ever be positive, it's impossible to feel extraordinary in a negative mindset. It's 2 things that can't go together. You cannot be negative and feel extraordinary at the same time. It's impossible. Can't happen, right? The second part of that is financial wealth. Now, that means different things to different people. Once again, it's all perspective. What I want to be and what you want to be is 2 different things. What you feel is your financial wealth, your financial blueprint, what would make you comfortable, what would make you feel like I got everything I need, is different, but you have to define that. I don't need to be wealthy. I do want to be rich. You know, I want to be rich. Oh, y'all remember that song? Some of y'all do. Some of y'all do. Yeah. For the love, peace, and... All right, that's enough. All right. I do want to be rich, right? I don't need to be wealthy, right? But everybody has their own version. Some people just want to have the bills paid, the cars paid, the house paid, 6 months stock in the back, right? That reserve, right? Retirement fund growing, right? Everybody has a different version of what they want to feel secure financially, all right? The third one, we got our health in check. We got our wealth in check spiritually and financially. We're doing pretty good, right? Let's just say we're crushing it on both of those. The third one is relationships. If you don't have any quality relationships in your life, it doesn't matter how healthy you are. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are. If you have nobody to share it with, nobody that cares as much about you as you care about them, it's impossible to feel extraordinary. You can go take an extraordinary vacation. You can have an extraordinary dinner. You can have an extraordinary event. But you cannot live an extraordinary life if you don't have quality relationships in your life to share that with, right? And the fourth one is purpose. If you are looking to achieve any of these things in your life, Shawn said it earlier, most of it is simple. We know the steps we need to make, but it's not easy. It requires work. It requires effort. That's why a lot of us don't make the steps necessary, because it requires the work to put it in. But when you have a purpose, a clearly defined purpose, it makes the work that much easier, okay? It makes the reasoning to like, I don't really want to do this, but I do want to get in shape, I really do want that mocha frappuccino, but I'd really love to get out of this credit card debt because it's crushing me, okay? So when you have a purpose, it makes the hard decisions easier, all right? I'm gonna leave you with this. Take those four things, figure out where you rate in your life: health, wealth, relationships, and purpose, okay? Create a small list of non-negotiables. Start small. Don't start with 15 different things. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. You're never gonna do it. You're setting yourself up for failure. Start with 3 to 5 things that are very simple for you to achieve, that you're gonna call your daily non-negotiables. I'm no longer negotiating with myself. This is what I do. This is who I am. Start simple. Start doing those daily non-negotiables until they no longer require a list. They're part of you. This is what I do now. Now you can add to that. Now you can change that. Now you can do that. Start small. Start 3 to 5. Start somewhere that's easy to change. Start with the easy ones, because you're going to start stacking those wins. You'll start stacking those habits. Okay? When you have that purpose, when you have that why, it starts making a lot of these things easier, right? We all have a choice. We can live a life and just accept what life gives us, or we can ask for and work for exactly what we're capable of achieving, okay? If I asked for affordable flooring my whole life, that's the type of flooring I'd have dealt with. But I asked for extraordinary flooring, and that's the life we live. And by asking for that has led me to everything else. It's led me to my purpose, because I didn't know what it was. I know now. So you can accept the life that's given to you, or you can work for and achieve everything you're possible. You have a choice. If you're gonna listen to me, I'm gonna tell you to make it extraordinary. Thank y'all.
Love it, boy. Building momentum through action, one moment at a time, one small thing at a time. Listening to our intuition, that voice that can take something ordinary and make it extraordinary. And now we're going to get into spirituality. It's my honor, my pleasure to welcome to the stage Edgar Rios.
Thank you. So I didn't have anything prepared for this event. I just reflected a little bit. It's kind of short notice, so just bear with me. I had the idea to make this more of a conversation, an open conversation with you guys. And if you have any questions on spirituality, what it means to you what it means to me. Feel free. I want to engage with you guys. So spirituality for me is something that I grew up as a kid being exposed to the most extreme spirituality practices that you can think of. My grandmother was a medium, a channel of spirits. I actually witnessed this from a young age, the real deal, no BS. And, actually seen from that extreme to church circles and the Holy Spirit and that connection with God and that true alignment with God. And I've personally experienced it for myself, feeling that connection with God, tapping into, what that truth really means, what it really is, living in that authenticity, feeling the power of that spirit, right? So I guess I'm somewhat qualified to speak about spirituality, and in my life, I see that it is the main driver. When I see others, it's the main driver behind our purpose, our meaning, our self, what we do in life. It could make or break you, depending on where you're at in that. If you're not grounded in your spiritual beliefs, a lot of times I see that people are just up to whatever. Like they can just be overtaken by the pressures of this world. And then on that same spectrum, those who have been overtaken by this world and have no identity in spirituality, when they find it, boom, they can just go from the bottom all the way to the very top. That's how powerful spirituality is, And so, anyways, just wanted to share that with you guys. And if you guys have anything to contribute, now's the time.
I agree with that last little part about how, being overtaken, hitting rock bottom, and then realizing and then having that awakening. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
And go from here to somewhere else like nothing.
Right.
It's really something.
It's so powerful, right?
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah. And
you can't even comprehend it.
It's like, it's more powerful than the physical and the senses that you're experiencing the moment in. It's like a driver. All things will come into alignment to make that spiritual belief that you have about yourself and your connection with God, whatever that truth is, whatever that belief you have, whatever you are meant to be, all things will come into alignment to make that happen. And it just, boom, catapults you to where you need to be in life. That's how powerful it is. It's everything, right? To me, it's everything. So I've always lived my life centered in that spiritual practice, knowing that truth. For me, it's just been such a heavy thing in my life because I was exposed to such extremes. So I got to see the reality of the dark side and the light side. Like, got to see all of it. The truth and the false, the evil and the good. So I know how real it is. And since I was a child. So when I had the worst of circumstances come against me in my life, the worst of trauma, come down on me in my life, and I didn't have anything or anyone to really relate to or talk to or comfort me in those moments, I leaned on that knowledge of that spirituality. Like, God is real, and my intentions were not to do any harm, but harm was done to me. God help me. And when I would reach out and speak to God, He would answer. And I knew it was real. I knew when it was a good thing, I knew. And whatever was going on in my life that was a negative, that I would be afraid of, that I couldn't overcome, when I would tap into that and speak to God and say, help me, the world would just provide. Things would change. Things would mold and shape to what I needed at that moment to get through and persevere. I don't know if I'm making sense here. I don't know if I'm identifying with you guys, but this is coming from a real place.
Give us what we want and give us what we need.
Yeah. Yeah. And
He don't give us. We have that inside of us. We all God in person. We have God inside of us. We are the God.
What keeps us
We are
what
the
keeps
light.
us stuck from not connecting with God at the profound level that you're speaking about right now?
what keeps us stuck? Well, I just recently, in the last 8 months or so, I've been on this journey where I have lacked consistency in certain areas. So I identify with, was it Shawn, right, from the gym? Yes, Shawn, when he was speaking about, that consistency of starting from scratch. I started from scratch going to the gym, and man, I had to start with 10-pound dumbbells. So weak, I could barely even finish a set of 3 reps, so I started with that low weight, wanted to quit so many times, sore as you can think, had every excuse in the book to not go back to the gym, but I made a commitment and I decided that I wanted to change. I needed to dedicate myself to this thing for my own health. I needed to practice self-love, and I needed to be consistent with it. So I stuck with it. And that really did change my whole perspective. And it tapped into both the mind and the spirit. The body was the exercising, was the working out, right? But the mind was like, man, I have to stay committed to myself, to loving myself, to doing this for the right reasons, exercising in the gym because I need to be strong, I need to dedicate myself to something. And then it carried over into spirituality. Whereas in times past, on the spiritual side, I would abandon my spiritual practices at times. When all of my spiritual needs were met, when all of my physical needs were met, life was good. I didn't have to ask for anything because everything was there. Everything was being provided. I was living it up. So I would abandon my spirit. What would make me hungry and what would actually keep me driven, I would abandon those practices. When God gives you everything you want, you think you don't need God anymore, right? So you abandon it. Big mistake. It's the consistency. It is the repeating of humbling yourself. So sometimes I would have to just kind of wake up and thank God that I'm able to breathe, that I'm in this capable body, that I'm able to go to the gym and work out, that I'm able to dedicate myself, that I'm able to have the mental capacity to stay focused on the task, that I'm free enough to be able to do what I want when I wake up and choose. We take all these things for granted. I have so many times because God has given me all of these blessings, and that's the secret to me in staying grounded in your spirituality, is being humble enough to recognize and gracious enough to recognize all of the blessings that are in your life. Humbling yourself. I don't want to humble myself. Sometimes I want to talk good about myself. I want to give myself some perks. If I'm being honest, I want to feel good about myself. I want other people to honor me. But in order for people to respect and honor me, I have to present a respectable and honorable person. So that takes humbling myself and realizing that I'm just like you. I'm not above anyone else. I'm not below anyone else either.
You compete with yourself.
Yeah,
You don't compete with nobody else.
that's right. I don't compete with anybody else.
I feel like, to use Dale's words, like I feel like you were saying, we all have God within us, but I feel like our ego kind of blocks out God's voice where you don't hear him. So once you get in control of your ego, you're able to tap in and be able to get those aha moments at that time because you suppress that ego and you're able to hear it and feel it. So.
Balance. I think balance is a big thing of getting unstuck, right? That's the theme of today's talk, is getting unstuck, right? What kept me stuck was a lack of balance. Many times in my life, I would have the mind down pack, I would have the spirit down pack, right? But I didn't have the physical down pack, the body, right? I didn't exercise consistently, or sometimes I would have the spirit and I was exercising right, but I wouldn't have the other parts, right? So there is a balance, and we're responsible for maintaining that balance. But I really believe that the secret to it all is gratitude.
Amen.
Yeah, when you're able to just take a step back and realize the blessings that this existence, this reality is providing you. Some people hate their lives, but that's only because they're on that negative side of the spectrum. But if they can humble themselves and realize that maybe their reality isn't as bad as this guy that's being tortured at the moment, right? Who's like in prison about to face death row, and you still have an opportunity to change your life circumstances. That mental shift, that perspective shift, that humbling of yourself can bring in a spiritual force that will just catapult you to the next level and change your whole circumstance. And that's always been my strength. That's what spirituality means to me, you know. It's my connection with God. It's my connection with myself. And it drives my everyday life. So with that being said, that's it. That's all I have.
Feeling stuck. We've all been there. We've all felt that at some point in our lives. So I want to talk about ultimately purpose, but I want to build a bridge to get there. Like my good friend Jacob Lawson says, throw out a bunch of layers and then tie it all together. That's just how I see it, because it's so many things to connect, right? Connect mind, body, spirit. You touched on a couple, Edgar, where you were saying you had the spiritual power, man. You had that connection, and these other layers were lacking, or you didn't give them the consistent behavior to get those things to grow. So for Connect, it is, in all the work that I've done, when God gave me the Connect download, it was mind, body, spirit. And what jumped out to me with that was the mental aspect of it, and really understanding the battle that we have within ourselves with the good wolf and the bad wolf. Like I've said in the past with my child, with Haven, I say, baby, you got the good wolf and the bad wolf. And the one that wins is the one that you feed. You're never going to starve off the bad wolf. The ego is always going to be there with us. The ego is part of this existence for whatever reality. I don't go down those rabbit holes. I just deal with what I know to be real. And we all have it, okay? Some people think that their good side is gone totally. I call it the fire within us, because they've done so much bad and seen so much bad. I get it. It's a lot of layers stacked on top of that fire. But that fire is still there. And no matter how stuck we feel, that fire is still burning. And when we have moments that we see tragedies on TV, or we see things happen, or we see miracles happen, we have reactions. We get full body chills. We cry. We have that connection with humanity because it's still there. It's still there. It's real. So the superpowers that we have that are overlooked and dismissed, the first one is our awareness. You guys made a choice to be here. You were asked to come, invited, but you're in these seats. And for you at home, you're watching this podcast. Now you're aware. You're aware of being stuck because of the information that Shawn Oddo shared from his heart, because of the information and the uniqueness of Jacob Lawson sharing his story. Edgar Rio sharing of what he dealt with spirituality on an insane level, you know, and just speaking from the heart and being candid in his journey of his spirituality. Edgar Rios is a brother. I didn't have a doubt in my head when Dr. Christina said, I can't. I said, okay. I woosah'd for a moment. I didn't freak out. My intuition spoke. Edgar Rios. Just like that. Jacob Lawson talked about intuition. The podcast that we did together, Make It Extraordinary with Jacob Lawson. Intuition is key. That's the Holy Spirit. That's the good wolf talking to you. You know you need to go do that. Go step over there. Go say you're sorry. Then there's the ego. No. Which one of those two, the good wolf or the bad wolf, keeps us stuck? The first thing I said when I came on today to start the event, how many of us have been a victim of our own minds? People in this room know me 20 plus years and have seen an evolution, have seen me fall on my face. But every time I fell on my face, I wasn't going to stay stuck, baby. I wasn't going to stay stuck. Something inside of me said, this ain't it. That happened. Some shame behind it. Own it. Be accountable. And get back up and do better. Waves of it. Waves of it. There's backsliding that happens. We mess up. Waves of it. We start moving forward. Like Shawn said, we build momentum. We listen to our intuition. We humble ourselves. We focus on gratitude. We connect with God through the surrender. I need you. Boom. You get that download. You feel that bliss. You guys got to watch Edgar Rios' 3 parts of his awakening. To be able to document that in real time is like mind-blowing. So as we become aware of ourselves and where do we feel stuck? Well, I can't do this. I can't do that. I want to. I got good intentions. So step 1 is we're aware. We're rigorously honest. Like my mentor, Jeffrey Combs, says, we got to be rigorously honest with ourselves. If not, we faking the funk. And this is a individual sport because our spirits are in this body, that body, that body, that body. Then we come together, we form families, we've got friendships, we've got bonds. But when we go to bed at night and we close our eyes, it's an individual sport, but we're part of a collective. We are all part of the collective consciousness, all of it, and the creator, and the energy, and the vibration, and the frequency of what we put off. When you walk in here, I want you to smell the frankincense. I want the lights to be low. I want you to feel relaxed. I want you to be in a relaxed body. I want you to be inspired to open your mind and open your heart. And that's why I had quality people here to share their stories, because they're mentors to me. They may not know that. They know it now. All of you guys are mentors. I learn a little bit from everybody, no matter what. That's the key to this game. How do we do that? Awareness, okay? So we use our awareness. I wasn't aware of that. Were you aware there was a wreck over here? I wasn't aware of that. That's outside. We focus in and we use our internal awareness. The voices, the thoughts, the triggers, the reactions, the choices. We slow down and we start focusing on being present, listening to someone, making eye contact. Yeah, I hear you, Randy. What'd you say? That's not quality, that's quantity. And we need to focus on quality relationships with everybody. No one's perfect. You know, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. With the internal work, with the spiritual work, with the physical work, with the building of wealth, all of these things come together if we put in consistent effort. So we have that superpower, our awareness. Then we start identifying through the rigorous honesty. You don't have to tell nobody nothing. You have your own little diary, put a lock on it. When something's bothering you, when you can't get it out of your head, you just go into your diary and write and identify where in your life you're stuck or why you feel stuck. And then you start digging into that. Make a list, top 3, top 4. You could put 8, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then read through that list and which one really hits you. So I do logistics, right? That's what pays my bills. Blessed to be part of a great team, high achievers, a lot of stress at times. In the logistics world, I have to prioritize what's gonna burn my team first. And that's what I address. So when we focus on the internal work of what we need to do to start to get us moving forward, to build a little momentum, and then we just consistently drive and we get focused, we remove the distractions. Now we start swimming. And when you start swimming and you see the inches coming off, you see the muscle building, you see the bank account start to go up. Praise Jesus, right? It's a celebration. And we should give those victories to God. And we should celebrate those small wins because that is a moment in time that you achieve something new that maybe you thought you couldn't because you were stuck. And why are we stuck? Who's keeping us stuck?
Ourselves.
We keep ourselves stuck. It's all in here because the programming that's on a consistent loop. That old story doesn't serve you, friends. We're here because we want to move. We want to create. We want to be part of a community where we feel appreciated, respected. We show up as our authentic selves. Not perfect. Oh, look at me, I'm perfect. I'm real. I'm real. I've fallen on my face, and now it's rare that I fall on my face, but it could still happen because I'm not Jesus, and that's okay. But we have to get up every day and try. So we identify those things. We make that list. Which one's going to burn me first? I'm going to prioritize it. Well, my health is real bad. I'm going to go get into something with that, whether it's Shawn Oddo or Jacob or myself or anybody who can start to guide you. And we make that effort. Or if it's financial, wherever we need to get some effort, we reach out in humility. The humility, being humble, being grateful that we have people that we can reach out to. That comfortability of, well, that's the devil that I know. I can't step outside of that. I'd rather stay stuck than step into the unknown because I'm fearful. What if I fail? If you don't try, you already failing. Because the ego and the bad wolf kept you stuck. There's a saying, I can't remember where it came from, but it says, have one foot in certainty and the other foot in uncertainty. And the contrast is this. If you got both feet in certainty, boy, you stuck and you're going to have a very mundane, mediocre, ordinary, not connected, disconnected for sure, programmed life. That's both feet right here, right? If you have, in the certainty, if you have both feet in uncertainty, which I've lived that way, now you got straight chaos. You got straight chaos. Oh yeah, I got X amount of money. Oh, you want to go here? Let's go. Boy, you just, in your 20s or teens, you probably ran like that. And then when Friday came, right, you got your paycheck and by Monday the money was gone. A lot of stories we could all get into with those situations. The balance, like Edgar talked about, balance is huge. Check out that episode I did on balance. The balance is one foot in certainty and the other foot uncertainty. Now you've got some balance. Now you're coming from a place where you're not fearful. If there's an opportunity that comes to you, you trust your intuition, you listen, you see the approach, you see the details, you feel the vibe, you feel the energy, and you receive it. Okay, yeah, that sounds like a great opportunity. Okay. With all of this connect work, we continue to refine ourselves internally. Like that jagged stone that gets hit by the water. We grab that stone and little by little, we start with the really harsh sandpaper, right? That's us. As we start to get a little rounder, we get a higher grade, higher count sandpaper. Wet it down, continue to refine. So think of yourself that way. And know this, you're never stuck. You're never stuck. The only person holding you back is yourself, my friend, when you look in that mirror. There's people around you rooting for you all the time that want to see you succeed, want to see you push, want to see you go from ordinary into the extraordinary because we're all capable of it. And as I stand here today, I wasn't ordinary ever. I was reckless. Super reckless. Not super duper duper, but I was reckless. And what I've come to learn, it was my own ego sabotaging me to the point of almost ending my life. And not that I was going to do it in my own life. I'm talking about reckless behavior that easily could have led to that. Spinning out in a car on I-10 going 85 miles an hour, didn't hit nothing. Almost drowning as a child, just different random things. You know, I would never try to end my own life, and that would never happen because we're never stuck. No matter what we do, no matter how bad it gets, no matter how bad you think it gets, and when that ego comes for you and tries to push you to that, to keep you from your glory, to keep you from evolving, to keep you from connecting with God, to keep you from an extraordinary experience while you're here, to connect with yourself, mind, body, spirit, to live in gratitude, to live in humility, to live in the spirit, to surrender to God, to have that connection, to feel that, to be able to encompass all of that, and then connect with others in the same way as we all refine ourselves, little by little, day by day. And it's pushing past the comfortability. It's okay. It's okay if somebody says no. You tried. It's been on my mind. I need to call this person. I ain't talked to him in 10 years, but I keep feeling it on my heart. but I don't listen to my intuition, I don't act. That's going to fester. Those things will fester. And it will continue to bother you until you honor your inner voice and you honor your intuition and you have that mind-heart coherence working together, flowing. Now you see alignment, you feel alignment, you see the synchronicities, and things start happening. Magical. It's amazing. When you're going to step into something new, you're going to feel internal resistance. Anxiety, red flags. And is it because it's a threat? Like a real threat, someone with a gun, a lion, shark in the water? Is it because it's a real threat? Or is it because that ego? He got us. He doesn't have me anymore, thank God. But he's always there, trying to sabotage me, trying to kick me in the face like the little brother. That resistance comes in. Like for this, you know, I'm full transparent, right? So for this event, felt great, made some changes leading up to it. Woosah. But still today, there's moments of nerves that hit me, right? To get up here, to share from the heart, even though I know most of you guys, there's still gonna be resistance no matter what. No matter how good you get at something, that ego's always there, those insecurities trying to swim around. You shouldn't be doing that, blah, 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 blah. The resistance is the tell that you're about to step into something and you need to show courage. But that courage, you got to build it. All of these different foundational blocks that we cover with the Connect podcast are all blocks that serve us so that we can become those things. And then we go out there and we do extraordinary things. You don't fake no funk. We can do everything that we do out in life consistently. That's the question. If you're doing it consistently, it's because you embody it. That's who you are. So tying in purpose with all of that, getting unstuck, identifying the things that have us stuck, seeing that the comfortability is where dreams go to die. Doesn't matter how old you are, we got to keep learning, keep pushing, keep evolving, keep refining. Limitless potential, endless refinement. Endless, until we float out. We float out. Purpose changes. My purpose right here, right now, is to open my mind and open my heart and share and pour into you guys and you guys at home. This is my purpose. When I'm doing my work with Connect, I'm in my purpose. I'm in alignment. I'm in flow. And it took years and years of falling on my face and continuing to evolve to get there. And then God gave me Connect. Because if you know the story, Connect just came. I was working on something totally different. We all can agree that a simple purpose that we share is to enjoy this experience of life. To enjoy it. To slap each other around with hugs and love and feel energy, lift each other up. Can we agree on that? That's a purpose, a commonality that we all have? To support each other? To try and hold first of all, ourselves should be part of our purpose. We should try and hold ourselves accountable because no one's perfect. And hold our friends accountable, however we need to try and do that. Those are simple purposes that humanity can share. But for each and every one of you here and those at home watching across the world, you have to go into your silence and get in alignment to find your life's purpose. And it doesn't matter if it takes 15, 20, 30, 40 years. When time stops and you're in that flow state, that's a key and that's a tell that you're in your purpose. And purpose changes. But I'll tell you this, our purpose is to get unstuck. Being stuck is not in our purpose. I want to thank you all for coming out today. I want to invite the speakers up right now. Jacob Lawson, Edgar Rios. Collaborating with you two today, and Shawn Oddo that had to leave was an honor. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your authenticity. I appreciate you sharing from the heart of who you guys are, of who you've refined yourselves to become. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing with the Connect family.
Thanks for having us.
Let's get a round of applause for everybody. We'll see you next time. Actually, hold on one second. Jacob Lawson, let them know. Let them know where to get at you.
Follow me and make it extraordinary. Make it extraordinary is the motto. Make it extraordinary is the movement. I put out a daily motivational message every single morning. And follow me there. And we can connect out other than that.
Edgar Rios, words of wisdom.
Follow this guy. I've been following him myself, man. He's definitely an inspiration to me. Like, I've been watching a lot of your Facebook interviews and whatnot. And look, he wrote the book, Make It Extraordinary. I shared a goal that I wanted to write a book. I always thought that I had a book in mind, right? And he's like, dude, you got to do it. You can do it. And so
Amen.
Since then, man, he spoke that uncomfortable truth to me. That was an uncomfortable thing to hear, that I have what it takes, but I'm just not doing it because I'm not living my potential. And so it shook me up, and that's what got me like looking at him like, this dude told me what I needed to hear, and I didn't want to hear it, you know, made me uncomfortable.
He'll do that.
So I started following him.
He'll do
you know,
that.
And so he's been an inspiration to me, you know, because I'm not inspired by people that are going to tell me what I already know. I'm inspired by people that are going to stretch my boundaries and tell me things I don't want to hear and stretch me a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So
We all need to get
that's-
out of our comfort zones.
Yeah, yeah.
Bottom line. We all need to get out of our comfort zones every single day. That's what gets us.
To the next
Unstuck.
level.
Unstuck.
It gets
Unstuck.
it gets us unstuck. Listen, one last thing. I chose this shirt for a reason. Self-love. To get unstuck, we've got to love ourselves. We've got to and if you don't, you need to look into it. Because like I said, this is an individual sport, and our internal reality flows out to everyone around you. And it has a lot to do with our reality. With that said, I want to invite you to go to theconnection.studio. Get the journal for this episode. Grab you a t-shirt. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Till next time, God bless. Thanks for joining us at the Connection Studio. You can support us by sharing with others and posting to social media. Keep doing the internal work, as it will truly make all the difference. God bless.